It all happened like I knew it would. A single drop of source magic. And, like flies to honey, the monsters swarmed. The rebel panicked. The carnage began. And the magisters pointed their fingers at me. Just as I'd planned. I was shackled and collared, and sent to Fort Joy. I'd come here to kill Godwoken. But instead I became part of their story.
So, still a bit groggy, are we? Don't worry, the sedative will wear off soon enough. Easy now, no need to hurry. Get your bearings and report to me upstairs.
An animal sty. Freight or food?
Shaking her fluffy coat, the sheep eyes you balefully, her rectangular eyes like letterboxes to the void. With one sharp hoof, she kicks you right in the shin.
Banded like a chicken's leg, but not much meat on your bone. That may be so, but look at the flies. Ban wisdom. Flies know when a creature will die. And it's around your head they're buzzing, not mine.
With two shakes of her stumpy tail, the sheep turns away from you to peruse her hay-filled manger. Did you expect a needle?
You there. Come here.
Before you can even touch the lever...
Is my shift over? Are you here to relieve me? Oh, wait, you're no magister. You're a sorcerer. What are you doing here, filthy elf? Choose your word. And it's about time too. The lads and lasses up there are getting lazy. Figures they'd send one of you sorcerers down. They can barely be chuffed to wiggle a single toe. Can't just leave the prisoner alone, though. I heard he might be the one causing trouble upstairs. If it's all the same, I think it's best he comes with me. Summerfed... Come on. And keep your hands where I can see them. Hurry it up, sorcerer. We haven't got all day.
Magister.
So much
Somebody
for
will
a
have to
peaceful
take the
stroll.
blame for this, and it won't be me.
Not the most elegant solution, was it? And I'm back where I started. Nowhere to go but up.
It seems as though there's a pattern in the blood flow. That can't be natural.
Empty.
Why, there you are. Not too tight, I hope. The collar, I mean. Oh, not to worry. Every dog has to get used to its leash. In the meantime, your next stop will be Magister William. All passengers have to be registered in the ship's manifest, and he's the chap in charge of the lock. You'll find him on the other side of this deck, in the officers' quarters. No, you're alive, and you're having a conversation. You are on a ship, of course, but luckily for us both, we're merely sailing the plain old sea.
Index fingers pressed to her lips, she pauses a moment to give you a scrutinizing gander.
My word, you do seem a bit befuddled, don't you? Perhaps I was a bit too generous with that sedative. Oh, well, I'm sure you'll soon gather your wits. Most likely. Eventually. In the meantime, all you need to know is that we're en route to Fort Joy. A new life awaits, and if you're a particularly good boy, perhaps a cure as well. An end to sauce.
She frowns and peers at you closely, concern clearly etched upon her face.
Delusions such as these are rare, but not unheard of. I recommend a cup of mulled wine and another night's sleep. Just take it easy. Why, for my peace of mind, of course. Why don't you try casting one of those sauce spells of yours? See what happens.
Currents of magic surge inside you, boiling, bursting, then breaking, only to fade back into your soul like rain into the earth.
You better stop before you hurt yourself. All will, but no result. There you have it. See? The collar's function. It neuters you of sorts. Makes you unable to cast sauce. For your own peace of mind, of course. Yours and the whole world's.
Good gods! There's been a murder here.
Ugly sight, isn't it? Burns me up this happened under our protection. We're extremely lucky no void walk. Finn didn't see it like that. We'll find out who did this. Speaking of...
She looks up at you with a mirthless smile.
I was on duty in your room when the murder happened. You were asleep the whole time. Didn't even stir. You're one of the only indisputably innocent. Finn was killed by sauce. If a magister could do that, there wouldn't be a magister. It looks more like a passenger managed to slip their collar. And the rest, well, you see the evidence in front of you. Listen, I could use someone to keep their ears open among the passengers. Sometimes they clam up in front of a uniform. Bring me a good lead, and I'll throw in a shiny gold coin for you. How about that? Think about it. It's one of you who got killed, not one of us. We want to find who did it and bring them to justice. Who's your real enemy? You let me know if you hear anything. Whoever did this is dangerous. But who?
As the dead man's flesh slides down your throat, you feel his consciousness enter yours. His memories are yours to experience. You are Finn. Your heart is heavy. You know too much. It's all too much. You met him. A bright light blinds you, then fades. You feel a tremendous power in your hands, but they are shaking so hard you can barely use them. Suddenly you're on this very ship, crouched in a corner, hugging your knees. A figure approaches, an older woman. Her eyes are kind. She comes closer. She says she wants to talk. She reaches a hand toward you. You grasp it. The memories end. You are no longer Finn. You return to yourself with a jolt.
So, anything interesting for me? From his memories? You ate something off his corpse? Please, don't tamper with the evidence. Especially not like that. As for the older woman, I'll have to check out the ship's log. If she's aboard, I haven't met her myself. Must avoid us Reds when she sees us. If you meet anyone like that aboard, maybe you could talk to her. Casually. See when she last spoke to Finn.
Be good, you scallywags.
It was one of them. I know it.
Would you put a knuckle in it? I'm trying to concentrate.
They don't care about us. We're like cattle to them.
Ah, there you are. Husband. Would you please tell this very charming gaggle of not at all brat-like babes that I am by no accounts this Losa woman, nor do I sing, in fact. I'm deathly allergical. How very correct you are, spouse of mine. Madame Josephine Gribbles de Peeb refuses to be confused with anyone else. What? What's...
Her pinched face cracks into a great grin, and she shoos the children away from her with a laugh.
Yeah, okay, you found me out. Go on and get, and maybe I'll sing you something when I'm good and ready.
She turns to you, dark-eyed and dirty-haired, and smiles flatly.
Gotta keep ourselves entertained, haven't we? You'd presume right. Nope, trying not to find anything out either. Ignorance is bliss. The utterer, the better. Thanks, but I already belong to an elite and exclusive ship gang. We play ball every day after lunch. You're too soft for it. You take care, though.
Suddenly, her eyes cloud to an unnatural black. Greyish veins run down her face, and her mouth tightens into a cruel sneer. As quickly as they came, the clouds clear. She smiles as though no change came over her.
Good luck, Chief.
It was one of them. I know it.
Would you put a knuckle in it? I'm trying to concentrate.
They don't care about us. We're like cattle to them.
I'll give you that knuckle if you keep carrying on.
A broad dwarf sits totally upright on the bench, eyes closed, palms face up on his knees. His beard is a cascade of meticulous plaits, each one braided through with golden medallions. He raises an eyebrow as you approach, but doesn't open his eyes.
Listen up, boy. You hear that?
His eyes snap open. He looks at you and frowns.
Murder? Ah, that's what they were going on and on about. I wouldn't know anything about it. I kill a man. He knows who done it. His daddy knows who done it. And the mate...
His eyes flutter shut, and he assumes his position of repose once more.
Whether they catch me is another matter. But I ain't one to hide my... The ship, of course.
A wave of sound washes over you. The unintelligible chatter of your shipmates, the groaning of wood from floor to ceiling, the boom, crash and crackle of waves around you, complaints from the sea itself.
And?
How dare you classify this slop as food? I've seen more appetizing things coming out of plague-stricken pigs.
There's nothing else.
The fellow cocks his ear, listening.
That isn't anger.
He cocks his ear to the other side, then smiles.
Anticipation. She senses something. I'd hold on to my breeches if I were you, mate. That's all you hear, though. Listen close. There now, just like that.
Squeak!
Aha!
His eyes snap open as his countenance breaks into an expression of joy. One great paw claps you on the back. The other catches you before you lose your footing.
There. You heard it, didn't you? I knew it. I knew it. Aye, this is good news, boy. Good news. No, you beautiful idiot. That wasn't any rat. It was the wheel. squeaks whenever the helmsman jerks it clockwise, which means we're heading east. Burn my beard. That means if we've been traveling for... Yes. No indeed, boy. But that ain't my final destination.
The dwarf leans back from the table and strokes his beard, gold medallions jingling merrily. His eyes roll over to you.
That'll be all. Thank you kindly, boy.
We've got this wolf on a leash now.
Soon as the Inquisitor gets here, we'll hang you right over the side of this ship with it.
Well, well. What have we here? A fresh face in this stale hell. Let's size you up, shall we? See if you'll do.
The lizard looks you up and down, like a farmer would a fetching. All of a sudden, he grips you firmly by the chin, with the intent of inspecting your teeth.
I'm inspecting your teeth, in case that wasn't spectacularly obvious. There's some discoloration, as well as a rather disconcerting lack of tongue and gums, but I've seen worse. After all, one can't expect to find prime merchandise on a squalid little ship like this. Now then, to business. You will answer, and of course a cook who can't taste is about as useful as a dog in a chess game. On to the second question. Can you knit, weave? In short, tailor?
Insufferable, surely.
Yes, I can tell from your vagabond chic, a bag is as good as a shirt kind of style. I shouldn't be getting my hopes up. On then to my final query. Have you the ability to administer the upkeep of one's personal appearance? The delicate art of cosmetics is what I'm after. Just as I thought. That explains what's besieging my nostrils. So, 3 questions asked, 3 questions answered. Let's evaluate, shall we? As per your own testimony, you have the taste buds of a dung beetle, the fashion sense of a monkey in a clown suit, and your personal hygiene reminds one of a carcass rotting in the sun. That won't do at all, see? I'm sad to say I must deny you the opportunity to be my slave. Ever so sorry. My slave, of course. Oh, but I see. Yes, I suppose it must take some time for the full extent of my disheartening refusal to sink in. Still, hone your skills, and one day you may just qualify for a position in a lesser household than mine. You keep dreaming, you hear?
You shut up.
You think me mad?
Mad? Insufferable, surely.
An elf sits tucked away in a dark spot, lazily rolling dice onto the surface of a barrel. They sound like the dry cackling of an old witch.
Snake eyes.
She chuckles.
I bet that's just what they'll look like.
She shakes her head.
Game for one, I'm afraid. Rolling dice. Deciding fates. Don't worry, honey. It isn't yours.
She looks you up and down with the merest hint of a coy smile on her lips.
Never say never, though.
She eyes you suspiciously.
Not the future, no. But I can read the past in flesh. Just like you. And I'm quite good at it, too. I could lick your arm and tell you how you spent the night before last.
She looks at you in surprise when you bare an arm of bone.
My. Guess I'll have to find out the memory from marrow, won't I?
She gives your arm a vigorous stroke of the tongue, efficient like a cat grooming.
You were in a cellar with other sorcerers, watching, staring at them, hoping that none would stare back. You were thinking of flesh. Or, to be rather more precise, the pleasures of the flesh. Those that have eluded you for so long. Of course it is. The truth's right there, skin deep, so to speak. But don't you worry, darling. Your secret's safe with me. I don't lick and tell.
The first thing about sauce.
It was one of them. I know it.
Would you put a knuckle in it?
The elf is reading a volume of Cranley Hubert's famous encyclopedia. He looks up. He reaches out and examines your bandages, rubbing.
Fascinating.
He sits back and returns to his book, flicking quickly from page to page, completely oblivious to your presence.
We just skip to the part where I reassure you and you shut up. You think
It is simultaneously too detailed and insufficient. I know the beginning of this tale and the end, but I am rather missing the middle. Tell me, what do you know of our world's history? Oh, please. I have no interest in that. Your books are too full of it already. No, I want to know about the Celestial. I want to know about your... This text tells me that they created all creatures, but nothing of what came before. Where did these gods come from? Who are their people? Where are the others of their kind? Of course you don't have any useful information. Why did I expect anything else? Now please, run along. I have a...
No amount of pestering will get the elf to take his eyes off his book or respond to your question.
It was one of them. I know it.
A scruffy man lounges against the wall with scarred arms folded. A sly smile playing on his face, he stares across at the Magister.
Watch your back, new fish. There's a murderer on board, and I'd bet 3 months' pay it's this tramp Ifan.
Rolling his eyes at the Magister's warning, the man named Ifan beckons again. He leans in and adjusts your collar with a sharp tug, balancing its weight so it no longer presses unpleasantly on your neck. He winks.
Pinches less that way, right?
Hocking a phlegmy gobbet in your general direction, the sullen Magister settles back to his task of glowering at Ifan.
We used to know each other, more's the pity. I was his commander many moons ago. Isn't that right, Vic?
Standing far back from Ifan, the tight-faced Magister draws one finger across his throat in an elaborate fashion. Ifan grins, flashing pointed white.
Same as he was at 14 years old. Only long story. Maybe I'll tell you about it in the Joy. Away from interested parties. No. The dead man, Finn, is it? I'd no business with him. And I wouldn't put a man down without good reason.
He glances over at Magister Victor, who's staring back at him with pointed intensity.
Damn shame sheer annoyance isn't reason enough.
Ifan performs an elaborate pantomime of keeping quiet, one finger in front of his lips, as he leans...
Never thought you'd end up a prison guard, Vic.
That right? I always knew you'd turn out rotten, Ben-Mezd. Your kind always hung closest to our divine, like wolves around a campfire.
Well, you've got this wolf on a leash now.
As soon as the Inquisitor gets here, we'll hang you right over the side of this ship with him.
Here to register, sir. Good, good. Magister Williams is just about done with the last passenger. You faring okay so far?
He tugs the collar of his uniform and chuckles.
Sorry you're upset, sir. But we all wear what we wear for a reason. You head on in now. We'll...
Standing at the center of the room, you spot a sorcerer haughtily eyeing a pair of nervous-looking magisters. They keep their crossbow trained upon her as she's being interrogated by an officer.
So you admit it then? You murdered that poor fella?
Yes, I did. But of course, that was only the beginning.
She turns her head and looks you straight in the eye.
There are others whose lives must end.
Good God! The woman's mad! You there, sorcerer! Go and fetch Magister Siwan! We need to do more than collar this maniac. We need to shackle her, hands and feet.
No. I'm afraid I always perform my part solo. Do stay and watch, though, because...
She reaches for her collar and simply
I'm just about to create a scene.
Subdue her, men, quickly! If she casts Source, the Voidwoken will come. They'll end us...
She smiles with wicked satisfaction.
Precise.
What happened?
Damn, that doesn't bode well. Onwards and upwards. Thank the gods. But to find Grace, what was...
He eyes the collar circling your neck and reaches a hand towards his...
Another sorcerer!
The Magister's companion doesn't blink, frozen in place at the sight of you. He leaps to attention, then whispers loudly...
Don't just cower there, Rix! Take out your...
Rix raises his sword, which shakes to the rhythm of his trembling hand. The hound paws desperately at its snout. The dog notices you for the first time and snarls. The hairs on its back prickling as it lowers itself into a lunge. It sneezes suddenly and paws at its nose once more.
Can't smell. Can't breathe. Too much sauce. Too much. Please, make it stop.
The hound sees you reach for your weapon and growls.
Not long before this thing snaps into splinters!
Through the door and are suddenly face to face with an undead. His skull is bizarrely angular, and a glorious jewel sits in the middle of his forehead. The skeleton is quickly leafing through a volume of Cranley Hubert's famous encyclopedia.
No. What damn fools record not? It catches fire. It turns into must when wet. It cannot even resist acid. No wonder they're so bloody ignorant.
The skeleton looks up and notices...
Oh, it's you. Shouldn't you be running and screaming or some such?
The skeleton groans and looks back to his book, frantically flipping from page to page.
Yes, indeed. It's the look of someone that wants to read the bloody book he's holding. Now, if you're really quite finished, I believe you have lifeboats to flee to. Please, I was no more an elf than you are those rags you're wearing. I had a mask, rather ingeniously designed, which allowed me to take that primitive form. A mask that was stolen by that damned witch after her little... Still, she'll drown with the rest of these fools, and I will simply pluck my mask from her cold, dead... Indeed, just as sensible as getting off a sinking ship and leaving a fellow to his business. I would say good day, but it seems quite likely that you're about to die a rather terrible death.
The skeleton shrugs casually and on the door. You press your palm against it, doesn't budge. The door groans.
Death fog. Good thing I'm immune. Still, this means trouble. kid. Children and dwarfs first, just like the others.
The dwarf yanks at one of the nearby ropes to no avail.
Said there were other people down there. We need to help them.
You see those tentacles, kid? It's time for getting the hell out of here. Hear that, kid? We need to go.
But what about the ladder? It's right over there. We can go. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're gonna be the death of us, you hear? Had to open your big mouth. If you can walk, get yourself up a ladder. There's a... Wait! Void Vulcan!
Beardless bugs won't sink the ship on my watch.
I thought Voidwoken was supposed to be scary. Let the games begin.
They who are about to try us. Bring the Reaper for me.
I've faced worse.
Had to open your big mouth, didn't you?
Sounds like she needs help.
Wait! We need to wait!
God! That thing! There's no time.
I have plans for you, child. Rise.
Honorable Dallas, we lost a ship sailing sorcerer prisoners to Fort Joy. We assume some escaped and broke their collars. Their vile magic lured the Voidwoken. All who were aboard are presumed dead. Yours faithfully into eternity, High Judge Orivan.
Those Voidwoken made short bloody work of the ship. Am I the lone survivor? It seems someone, something, wanted me alive.
Oh.